Welcome to another episode of Founders Club. Today we are going to be interviewing Ryan Serhant, one of the top real estate agents in the United States and founder of the Serhant Real Estate Brokerage. He's also a best-selling author of multiple books and star of Bravo's $1 Million Listing New York. We're going to be breaking down his top strategies of how he built his multi-million-dollar real estate empire, his out-of-the-box approach to marketing and promotions that set him apart from the rest of the field, his 1,000-minute rule on how he makes every minute count, and the story behind the biggest real estate deal of his career. If you have any questions, put them in the box down below. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button so that other people just like you can find this video. And if you like real estate and you like money, this is the show for you. Hit that subscribe button and we'll see you on the inside. Welcome to Founders Club, the show for real estate entrepreneurs. We are live. Welcome to Founders Club, Ryan Serhant. Very excited to have you on and appreciate your time for coming on and spitting some wisdom to us today.
Oh God, I hope I can spit some wisdom. Let's do it.
So, founder of the Serhant team, now brokerage, $4 billion with a B in sales, number one sales team in New York, quite possibly the most competitive real estate market on earth, 3 times according to the Wall Street Journal, star of $1 Million Listing New York, multiple time bestseller. Like, looking back over your career, how does all that make you feel? Because you're only 36, you're a young buck, and you're just setting things on fire.
37.
37 now?
Just turned 37, just had my birthday in Greece with the family. I mean, dude, it's like anything, right? Like I don't think about what I've done. I just think about the future at all times. And like, you know, it's like that show Entourage, right? Remember Entourage? It's like, You're only as good as your last movie, right? You're only as good as your last deal. So like, no one cares about what you sold a year ago. They want to care about what you're selling right now. And that's important to me. So I'm very focused on the future. And, you know, and by default, if I focus on my future and I do a good job at that, then my future will become my past. And then my past is kind of taking care of me. So I don't need to think about it too much or focus on it, you know, resume wise, this, that, the other. That way I can just walk into listing pitches and tell people exactly what to do. If you need to know about me, Google it.
I love that. Honestly, that's a great answer. And just like my perception of you, just watching you on the come up the last decade, you just seem like extraordinarily driven, like your motto of expansion always in all ways.
Yeah.
And just getting your real estate license during the biggest meltdown in real estate, starting your brokerage during a pandemic, like all of these things. Like, where does that come from? Where does that drive come from? And not caring about the past and all that.
You know, I think at the beginning it was a total fear of failure, right? Like that I just and also a mixture of a fear of being embarrassed, right? I think that is a real fear that most of us have these days. I almost feel like now, given where we are with social, given where we are post-COVID, where we're all so intertwined, right? Any little thing happens in the news, we see it on our phone in a hot second. Nothing is secret anymore. I think most of us now have a greater fear of being embarrassed than we do of failure. But for me back then, like, there was no Instagram. You know, you went on Facebook to put updates for like your mom, you know, in 2007 and 2008. And it was a fear of failure. It was, okay, I'm in New York City. If I can't make it here, then I'm not going to make it anywhere. And that sucks. And what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And so but I knew that if I could make it in New York doing anything, then I would be able to find success doing anything, right? Anywhere. Because New York is really, really tough. It's an incredibly expensive city. The people are very difficult, and there's a hierarchy here. It is what it is. Like, I can complain and bitch about it as much as I want, but listen, I'm not from New York. I didn't go to these schools. I wasn't born into these families. I'm not overly religious. Like, I had to start from the ground up as a total outcast and outsider, but I figured out what worked for me. I knew very, very well what worked for me. I knew what didn't work for me, and I just went hard on what worked for me. which pushed me to last summer in the middle of COVID, blowing my whole life up and starting my own real estate firm. So, I think that fear of failure guided me a lot in the beginning, but now I focus a lot more on my fear of wasted potential. I guess I have a lot of fears, but it's like that fear of not, of leaving something on the table, right? Like, you only have one life to live. Like, I'm not the kind of person who's okay knowing in my blood that I didn't give it my best, because why not? Like, why not try? Like, why not try harder? Like, why not do more? It's not rocket science, especially in our business. It's what drives me crazy with new agents all the time. Like, oh, I have no business. I'm like, did you go outside? Like, what do you mean? Did you go outside? Did you talk to people out on the street? There's a street outside. You live in a country where you can go outside and really not be afraid that you're going to be arrested for standing on the street, be shot, be killed, right? You've got food on the table. You've got 2 legs, 2 arms. Did you go outside and talk to strangers? Your best friend was a stranger before you met them. So that fear of wasted potential, which is why I think I drive myself crazy and do as much as we do now. But those are kind of the things that have driven me in the past and drive me now.
No, that's super interesting. So what would you say to newer agents to kind of get some of that? Like, how do we get some of that?
You have to burn your boat, right? Burn your boat. If you have a blankie, if you have a comfort, nugget that you are holding on to, if you still live at home with your parents, like, anything that is making you a little bit too comfortable, light it on fire. Like, it's what we say here. We say, burn your boats. And so what that means is, like, you can swim, or you're never going to learn how to swim if you don't jump in the water. And look at all these other people swimming. You would be way better if you actually just tried. So, like, move out of your parents' house. Stop living in the same place that you've lived in for 10 years because the monthly payments are low. Push yourself. Push yourself up against a financial wall. There is nothing more motivating than debt. There's nothing more motivating than bills. Yeah. I'm like dead honest, right? Like,
100%.
And you got to consistently motivate yourself. But maybe that's not for you. For me, I know that works. But maybe for you, it's your kids. Right? Maybe for you, it's your husband. Maybe it's medical issues, whatever it might be. Maybe it's taking care of your parents and you want to pay their bills. Whatever that wall might be, you got to find your wall, right? Find your wall and put your back up against it, and then run as far away from it as you possibly can. And you can't do it comfortably. I don't know any runner who's been sprinting who's like, you know what? I'm also super comfortable right now in this dead sprint. No, otherwise you'd be walking, and anyone can walk. So I think that's really important. It's hard for people to do. Everyone says they want to be an entrepreneur. Everyone says they want to work for themselves. Everyone wants to get into real estate and sell billions of dollars worth of real estate, but no one wants to do the work, and no one wants to be afraid. You got to wake up a little bit afraid every day, because that's where the magic is.
That's beautiful advice. Like, one of our mentors, Mike Ferry, he kind of says it's similar, like that. If you want to go to the next level, go out and get that new car, get that new house, book that vacation with your family. And that fear of not being able to make the payment, that fear of making it happen, is what pushes you to actually make it happen.
Yep. Always. Like, it's people are so afraid of the future that they allow their fear of the future to predict the future. And then they don't do anything about it, which means that their future, they're not really doing a whole lot. And then their future isn't so bright. So you got to put yourself out there, right? And back yourself up against a wall. Like, it's a pretty great action item, Let's go and get something that's going to freak you out, because you know how to dig yourself out of that hole, right? You got to do it by making money. And maybe it means making money in ways that you don't want to. And that's fine. Like, dude, I spent years sweating my ass off in a suit, walking up and down 5 and 6 floor walk-ups in Harlem, Brooklyn, the Lower East Side, up and down, renting apartments for $1,000 to $2,000 a month. That's how I made my income. but it's also all I really knew. And it sucked, but I was never like, oh, this sucks, so I'm not going to do it. No, it was, I need to learn how to do this because this is what I got to do in order to meet other people. And hopefully one of these people will buy something or sell something. And that's exactly what ended up happening. It just took a while, right? It took years. But you got to be willing to put in the work. And if you focus on the work will take care of you. Don't focus on the money. Don't focus on the touchdowns, right? People who focus on the touchdowns only last one season in the NFL, right? You hear about them, and they're the ones like who bounce out real quick. Focus on the work that you need to put in to march the ball down the field, and the touchdowns will take care of themselves.
I love it. And burning the boats, right? It kind of ties back into burning the boats. Those obligations are the new burning the boats that we're going to push you to do what you got to do.
1,000%.
Love it. So I've got a pretty hardcore real estate audience. And so when I posted this interview, I got a ton of questions that people wanted to ask. One of them was from Andrew Greer. And he said, what's the craziest thing you've done to land a deal? You've flown to England, you've done all sorts of just wild things, but what's one that really stands out to you as something going above and beyond to get a deal?
I went to China once and got kidnapped and taken to Pudong, and had to flag a taxi down in the middle of a Chinese highway. I don't speak Chinese. That was probably the craziest thing I've ever done. But I put up my own money to get that apartment into contract, which was terrifying. And so I needed that deal to go through. And I sold his apartment. I sold his son an apartment in the city. So I knew they had the money. I knew they were real. I just knew they were really, really busy. And so I got on a plane and flew to China and got that done. But man, I will go above and beyond for any client and do anything. Like, I don't care what it is. Like I have a showing tonight at 10 p.m. Do I want to show a house tonight at 10 o'clock? No. Are there other things I could be doing? Yes. But is it a potential deal? And does it go a long way to show my seller that I'm committed? Yeah. So guess what? I'm going to be there because it's my job. It's the career. It's what I signed up to do. I don't put anything else ahead of the career. Right. It is incredibly, incredibly important to me. What else have I done that's crazy? I don't know. A lot of it would revolve, I think, just around, I'm sure there are 1,000 deal stories of like pure torture and fire I could walk you through, but a lot of it's around travel too, which is something we talk about. We have a large online education platform for people where we teach people how to sell the same way I sell in New York City and help people build their sales careers. And we've got a new course coming out on Thursday morning, actually, about how to sell and how to win in a low inventory market that I just made because it's super timely. And it's really difficult right now. It's like everything's great, but it's also really hard because how do you get a buyer's deal across the table? How do you get a seller to even want to list with you, et cetera? And one of the things we talk about in there is how simple and easy it is now, if you know the right steps, to expand your marketplace, right? You might have a low inventory market where you are right now, but maybe in that town or in that city, through a series of different connections, you can do business in other places. And all it comes down to is expanding your personal brand and opening up your network and a bunch of other things we go into the course. But like, for example, I had a client who wanted a rental apartment on the Upper East Side in January of this year. So a couple months ago, 6 months ago. And, it's not a low inventory market in New York City. There's tons of options, but he didn't really like any of them. And then we just started talking about where he would go and what he would do. And I was like, why are you staying in New York City? And he started talking about the taxes and this and that. Long story short, I brought up Florida, where I'm not from. I'm not a broker in Florida, right? I run a real estate firm that's based in New York City. I've done deals in Florida. And I was like, why don't we go check out Florida? There's houses in Florida we could go look at. And I had no idea if he would ever actually buy anything. He's a renter, okay? Rental client, expensive, looking at big rentals. He said, okay, send me some things. So I sent him a bunch of random stuff, huge, expensive things, because why not? It was like a Tuesday. Thursday morning, he's like, let's go. We're going to Florida right now. Like, right now? He's like, yeah, right now. So we jumped on an airplane, went down to Florida, and within 24 hours, I had sold him a house for just under $140 million.
Ooh.
And that was the craziest 24-hour wingspan of my entire life. But had I not brought up Florida, had I not brought up other opportunities, had I not made him look at me like I am his executive vice president of real estate versus just a local realtor,
Ooh.
he never would have said, hey, yeah, let's go. Right. So it's how do you change the work and how do you flip that mindset for your clients so that you're not seen as the one who does open houses, right? You're seen as the one who manages their real estate portfolio. Like when they think real estate, they think you. How do you do that? And that's something that we focus on a lot.
Yeah, I love what you just said right there. I want to be the executive VP of real estate, not just the local realtor. Love that.
Yeah, my biggest relationships are my clients, right? It's not houses. I don't sell houses. I could care less about a house, right? Or about an apartment. That's just the widget. I could be selling anything, but it's the client relationships. And then it's the market knowledge that I have about real estate that ends up creating the income. I connect those two things together, and then that's your deal.
Yeah, I remember you saying something similar, like early in your career when you were first getting started. You were like, I don't have the connections. I don't know a bunch of people. I'm not, I wasn't born here, but I can get the knowledge and I can be the most knowledgeable. And once I get that knowledge, no one can take that away from me, which I thought was really powerful way to look at it.
Yeah, true.
You've done some huge deals in your career. To date, what's the biggest one you've ever done?
That one, that was just under 140 million. That was a couple months ago. That was the second most expensive single family home ever sold in the United States and is the most expensive home ever sold in the state of Florida. And I'm not in Florida.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But we also just listed the penthouse at 432 Park Avenue yesterday in New York City for $169 million. So we'll see what happens with that one. I'm hunting right now. I'm like fishing. It's like I love new listings like that are crazy because I just get to go hunting. Like that's anything else, a regular apartment, you put it on the market, right? You do your marketing, you push it out. The brokerage community is huge. You got buyers that are coming through. There's an active marketplace for it. But for something like that, it's like a real puzzle. Like who buys that? How do I find that person, right? What industry are they in? And how do I get their email? How do I get their phone number? How do I go hunt for them? Like it becomes, I don't know. I like the deals and I like the chase and I like the hunting. It's fun for me. And because it's like, it's like going fishing, right? You fish all day. You don't catch a single fish. It's like right when you're about to pack it up, you're like, you know what, let me just try this one other spot. And you catch a huge fish. Like I was almost about to throw in the towel. Like, oh my gosh, how did I just did that, right? And now your whole day is successful. You forget about spending the whole day not finding any fish, and you care most about, hey, just got the fish. And that's what I work towards.
I love that. I think I saw that one on your Instagram, actually. That looked like an incredible property up there.
Yeah, we just put it up yesterday.
I love what you said, too, about the hunt, like finding those people and actually getting to those people, those super high net worth people that probably have 11 gatekeepers in front of them and are very private type people. Like, what tips do you have for that, like, hunting process that you go through?
There's a bunch of different websites. There's Relationship Science, there's People Smart, there's Seamless.ai. There's a couple of those that we use to really dig into people. You got to get a pro LinkedIn membership as well. And just use the power of the internet, right? The power of social as well. You can DM people and you can DM their kids. Okay, that's a big one. But, pay attention to who you think the buyer base is going to be. So like with that penthouse, I look at every other penthouse. Who has bought something for over $40 million, right? Over $30 million in New York in the last 5 years. All that information is basically public. If not, there's an idea. So let's figure out who all those people are. Boom, that's my target market. Let's go mirror it. And let's go find anyone who is similar. Anyone who is similar, because that is predominantly probably going to be who my marketplace is. Why do I have to go invent the buyer group? I don't have to. Why don't I just use the data that we have at our fingertips? Let's use that. And so then we start searching. So if, someone just spent $43 million, a crypto guy, spent $43 million in Brentwood on a house. I want to know anyone who's a newly minted Bitcoin billionaire, and I want those people to know about the properties that I have for sale. So I've got someone who works for me. That is now your job. Go find all those people, source those emails. This is stuff I used to do personally, but now I just don't have the time, and I have the luxury of being able to pay someone else to do it for me. So I can do other stuff. So source those emails. I show them how to do it. Spend 10 hours, get me everything. There's private equity, there's venture capital, there's hedge funds, investment bankers. Like, those are my market. If you're in a market that is, if you're in Houston, you're going after different people, right? You're going after oil. Go after oil money, energy money, wealth management as well, but you get a lot of energy, okay? Who are those people that are buying up places? Who owns the wells, right? What are some of the families that are driving around in Rolls Royces? Who are those people? And get in front of those people. You can search through social and just find the people that have certain types of cars. If you drive a flashy car, you deserve a flashy home, and I've got one for you. You just got to do the work.
That's a great line. Yeah. I love that. That's great. And you dropped some awesome tools there. I'm going to check those out for sure. Relationship science and the other ones you mentioned there. So that's good stuff right there.
Yeah. There are so many tools. There are so many different websites. Like, the problem is just that there's an abundance of information. So you got to comb down and see what really works for you. So you got to do the work to see what works for you. But then there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, totally agree. Got another one from the Facebook group, Carlos Gonzalez. So shout out to him. In the beginning, when you were first getting started, how did you really build up your database? You'd mentioned like going to gyms and stuff like that. And I know you set a goal to kind of meet 5 people a day. But maybe just some tips on like how to do that in a meaningful way, as opposed to just like, here's my business card, here's my business card, here's my business card type of vibe.
Sure. So it's not that complicated, but if you make it part of your job, like, you breathe to live, you eat to live, you gotta drink water, and you have to get people's contact information, you will just do it. And so you have to meet as many people as you can a day, 3 people, 5 people, 10 people if you can, and get their contact info. Easiest way to do it is have them put it into your phone. Give me your phone. Hey, I don't carry business cards. Can you put your contact info in here? Okay, shoot them an email. It says, hey, good meeting you on the street. BCC yourself. So that way you get their email. Now you've got their information. Now you've got their name. Now you can probably follow them on social and just start building up that list. Okay. If you meet 5 people a day for 365 days, that's 1825, right? People a year. Okay. And multiply that for as long as you possibly can do it. You can quintuple that. You can do less. I mean, it's just, it's like, it blows my mind. When I do personal outreach, I do more business. It's all it takes, right? And when I don't do personal outreach, I do less business. So you want to put yourself in positions where business can be made. Okay. So if you are by yourself in your office or in your home, it's very difficult unless you're cold calling from there, then okay, fine. Or you're doing other things, then fine. But you should be spending at least part of your day as a finder of new business. Something we talk about to our agents all the time, and I talk about in our course, is finder, keeper, doer, right? FKD. How do you break down your day? Finder, keeper, doer. How do you structure your calendar so that you're not a chicken with its head cut off? You are disciplined, and you know what you're supposed to be doing at every hour of the day. And the finder time is the most important, because that's when you're out purely prospecting. You do nothing else. That is it. You prospect, you run around, you try to build up your business the same way a CEO would. Okay. And that finder time is super, super important. And you can meet people at the coffee shop. You can meet people on the street. You can meet people at the gas station, the grocery store. And it all starts by saying hello. Hey, I'm Ryan. Good to meet you. I'm in real estate. You've got a cute little kid there. You look like you might need an extra bedroom. If you're looking to buy or sell something, you let me know how to reach you. Would love to show you something. I don't know. Maybe that works for you. Maybe it doesn't work for you. You can then make up something else, and just find a way to meet new people. And that's your job. Like, that's really the job.
Yeah. I love how you just broke that down in a couple different ways. The finder, keeper, doer, that was one of my big takeaways from Sell It Like Serhant. That was, I love how you broke all that down. But But I like what you just said about every day you have to breathe, you have to eat, you have to drink water, and you have to meet 5 new people.
Yes.
So,
yeah. It's otherwise you don't do it, and then it's just like real estate is a relationship business. Unless you are a builder, contractor, plumber, mill worker, electrician, architect, interior designer, you're not in the real estate business. You're a broker of people. I connect buyers to sellers and sellers to buyers. I have nothing to do with the real estate unless I work on a development, in which case I have some sort of design say and floor plan say, but I'm not building it. Okay. I'm there to bring buyers. So I'm a professional marketer and a professional connector. And so if my job really is to broker people, if I'm not getting more people every day, then I'm not doing my job. Right?
Yeah. And I love what you said about just making it easy on yourself. Like, I don't have business cards. Let me get your phone number, or let me get your email, and BCCing yourself, and just doing like simple stuff like that it makes it easy to build your database over time if you're just doing that every day. Can't lose 100%. Like that.
Yep.
Love that. So you kind of mentioned a little bit development, and I know that's kind of like a lot of your focus in terms of the future and stuff like that. You've done a lot recently, and what was kind of your big takeaway from the real estate development side of the business?
I don't do personal development. The only thing I've ever actually developed are my own personal properties, which is a painful process, especially in New York City. But we work with we do work with developers. We sell towers in the city, projects, anything from 4 apartments to 600, in one building. So we sell a lot like that. We work with developers, and we work with their entire team, and we help analyze the location of the building and the envelope of the building and figure out what the floor plates are going to look like and what the unit mix is going to be based on data and sales comparisons. And then we figure out the finishes. And, New York is funky, right? Like a level of finish that you might put on the Upper East Side, maybe with some lacquer cabinetry, some nickel hardware, some beautiful full slab stone, very clean, very white, would never sell in Brooklyn. Right, which is like literally just across one bridge, right? And it would also not sell in Tribeca, which is right downtown. Okay? And what sells in Tribeca does not sell in Brooklyn either, or in Long Island City. So every neighborhood needs its own level of finish and its own style and its own character. And so, like, it's fun. It's also a little annoying, but you get to branch out and create something nice and specific. But the design is not something I'm not the best at it. I have no patience whatsoever. And I just like selling, and I just like finding people and brokering deals. So I do the design and the thought work when we work on projects, but it's by no means my favorite part of the project.
No, it makes sense. Do what you like and do what you're good at.
Yeah.
Very cool. I also like what you said there too about and it comes back full circle to what you were saying earlier about just knowing your market, because putting the wrong finishes in the wrong neighborhood is a potential deal killer and profit killer all day long.
Yep. And we're going too personal, right? Developers all the time, they want to go personal. They think they're being smart or clever by doing things that they think are sexy, and it's just a total disaster. Like, no one needs that mosaic, right? No one needs onyx anymore. Like, I remember the last time anyone was like, you know what I want? Onyx. Like, that was a long time ago.
100% onyx.
Yeah, exactly. It's there are certain things that buyers want today and that buyers will want tomorrow and 2 days from now. And so we've got to help our clients really discover what the future market is, because that's who we're going to be selling to, right? Not buyers today. The property doesn't usually exist yet.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you for that. Got another question. This one's from Jamie Luanis, and you get a lot of big commission checks. Do you ever cut your commissions or credit your commissions back?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. See, commissions are not law. Okay. And I hate brokers and agents who will stick to their guns on their commissions and will kill a deal over it. Like, listen, I get it. I want to make as much money as I possibly can, and I do. But at the same time, I want to sell as many properties as I can. What I care about the most is deal volume. I'm never going to remember that I made 20,000 more in 2017. That's not going to mean anything to me. You should be focused on the number of properties you sell and the gross dollar amount only. If you take care of that work, the work will take care of you, meaning you will make money. And if it means cutting your commission to get a deal done and moving on to the next one, then fine, because you can use that sale to go and get you more business, right? Why not? Now, I'm not a discount broker. I don't cut my commission left and right. And it also depends on the client. It depends on the property. If a client is a total pain in the ass or it's a really hard property, then I'm not going to reduce my fee because it's going to be a ton of work and a lot of mental anguish. And we are going to do a lot of work. And then I'll tell clients if they ask me to reduce my fee that, yeah, I reduce commission all the time when I've done something wrong. And if you can point to something I've done wrong here, I'm happy to talk to you about it. Let's go right now. But if I haven't done anything wrong and all I've done is bring you a buyer at a number that maybe you don't like and I don't like it either, then you don't have to take it. Like, you don't have to sell. Most of my business is in the United States. Like, you don't have to do the deal. You can stay. I just can't find you another buyer unless you know somebody and your cousin's broke. So what do you want me to do?
I love that. I like that as an objection handler too. I cut commissions all the time when I've done something wrong and then kind of like put it back on them.
Yeah. Like, listen, I'm happy to, if I've made a mistake, right? I put my money where my mouth is all day, every day, right? It's New York City. How expensive this place is. Insane. My new office is a 15,000 square foot building in the center of Soho, corner building on West Broadway. This place isn't free. I put my money where my mouth is and took this whole thing down. The tenant before me was Tommy Hilfiger.
Oh, nice.
So, it was their flagship store, and now it's Serhant. What a weird world.
And it's gorgeous, by the way.
Thanks. It's a clubhouse, and that's what our offices are going to be like. Every city we go into, we're going to open up a clubhouse, because our agents are all mobile, right? You can work anywhere with anyone on any device, and that's the way of the future.
Yeah. I want to get into all that for sure in terms of like how you're structuring the company, what your plans are and all that. And I know you're big on like mobile first and being the brokerage of the future. I also want to talk about, because I'm like a big marketing guy, and seeing the stuff you do just blows my mind. Like you're dressing up at listings like superheroes and lifeguards and this and that, and you're for the big money energy release. I think you held the book for like 30 days straight, and like even in the shower, I think. So like, I'm just curious, how do you look at these marketing promotions that you're doing and these kind of ideas that you come up with?
I look at it a couple ways. I mean, for one, New York City is unique. Okay. Like, if I put something on the market and 100 people were going to show up in one day, I would not dress up like a lion. I wouldn't have to. I do what I have to do. In New York, dude, there are 10,000 apartments on the market in New York City. 10,000. Pre-COVID, the average days on market here was 400.
Wow.
So when I get hired by a seller who needs to sell, and I put something on the market and no one shows up, and we priced it right, done everything, because there's just so much inventory, I have to get creative. I've got to do things to get people through the door. I've got to think outside the box. And I think a big part of my success has been that for 12 years, I've been in a really, really, really difficult market and have had to think outside the box and dress up and do events and get creative. At the same time, not be boring. Like, I don't want to grow up boring. I don't want like 12-year-old me to come into the future and see me, just like sitting there passing out cupcakes or muffins. Like, that sucks. Like, I don't want to do that. If I wanted to be a waiter, I would have become a waiter. But I don't, right? I want to be the greatest real estate broker in the history of the known universe. And to do that, sometimes I got to put on a cape in New York City, and keep it exciting and keep it fresh and keep it fun.
So when you're evaluating these ideas, how do you know which ones are good and which ones aren't? Because I'm sure you guys come up with all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah. Those are actually my favorite scenes on Million Dollar Listing New York. It's like me with my team over the years, brainstorming and saying, what are we going to do now? Like, what is the problem here? What are we going to do?
We can just see the wheels spinning.
Yeah, like in the last season of Million Dollar Listing New York, I had 2 lofts, 2 apartments next to each other in Tribeca. The building was blocked through, meaning that you could enter the front of the building on Reed Street and you could exit on Duane Street. So it was all the way through the block. Most buildings are half. Okay. And this entire floor, my guy had the whole floor and he built it out as 2 different homes. And so there was a door between the 2 of them to the center of the building. And so when he invited me over, he showed me the first apartment, which was finished. He's like, hey, I got a secret for you. He took me into the back of the apartment, went through what I thought was a closet, and it wasn't. It was like the secret door to this back hallway that opens it up, and there's a whole other apartment, like this whole amazing apartment. And he's like, I want you to sell both of them. Like, oh my God, I had no idea this was here. So in brainstorming with my team, okay, so how are we going to sell these big, expensive lofts in Tribeca? What we're going to do here is he brought me through a closet, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right? I'm going to put a wardrobe in front of that door, and I'm going to do an event, and I'm going to call it the Ryan, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I'm going to dress up like a lion, and I'm going to take people through my wardrobe and show them this insane apartment, and it worked. We freaking sold it. It was like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, like I said, we enjoy it too. Obviously, as the viewers, just watching the wheels spin and you guys just brainstorming these crazy ideas. So I also noticed that you have, with the new brokerage, you have a media team in-house, and I think that's a big part of your brand and the stuff you're doing moving forward. But why did you decide to do that, and kind of like how has it helped you?
I saw that the listings that we were selling the fastest for the most money had video attached to them. So, and then remember too, look, again, I'm in a really tough market. I know TV makes it look easy and I know the numbers look large, but there's always been so much on the market here. So you've got to get creative and think outside the box. So I saw the listings that we were actually selling had video attached to them, and it's expensive. Right? Like hiring these freelance videographers, or if you hire a cheap one, then they suck. Okay.
Right.
And I apologize, by the way, for any siren noise. We are in New York City and everyone is back. And so there's nonstop sirens and honking.
That's all good.
But we, what's it saying? So, I had to, what was I saying? I just started thinking about that ambulance and who might be in there right now. I don't know why that's in my head.
We were talking about the media team in-house, and hiring out is really expensive.
Yeah. So it's too expensive, or it's really cheap and it's terrible. And so it's like, you know what? I'm just going to find a videographer that I can hire full-time and just have them there and have them just do our property tours. So we did that. And then that turned into, hey, when we're not doing property tours, let's do vlogs. So we'll do a weekly vlog and we'll put it up on YouTube. And we started that 3 years ago. And it just grew. That guy got too busy, so we had to hire somebody else. They got too busy, so that we had to hire somebody else. And now that team of 3, that was 1, is now 10 people that we have here on staff who are just pure video shoot and edit. Yeah.
Which allows you to probably turn things out really quick and much more inexpensively than hiring these big production companies.
Yep, 100%.
Another thing I wanted to ask on the marketing side of things is, you're obviously killing it on social media. You have these great ideas, the 60-second tours, the East versus West list off and things like that. And just for agents out there, like, what do you think is the key to really winning on social media?
Consistency, quality, but consistency first and foremost, right? So I would say you need to figure out first, what is your thing? Your thing isn't real estate. If your Instagram feed is all houses, no one cares. No one cares. You look like an advertisement. You're like the classified ads. That's not what social media is all about, right? You want people to hire. No one's going to hire you because you sold that house. People are going to hire you because you sold that house. So how do you make it personal? So first you need to figure out what is your personal brand. And this is something we really work on in the course. We have a whole program about where we develop agents' personal brands for them, and like they crush it afterwards. It's insane.
And real quick on that note, is that all at join.ryanserhant.com for people that want to learn more about that?
Yeah, ryanserhant.com is where you can find the course. But for the low inventory course, for anyone that's listening that is having a hard time right now or just wants to know how to win in the current market environment where inventory is tight, everything I know about how to be successful in the current marketplace, I put into this course. I don't hold anything back. I had real buyers, real clients, real sellers involved. They shot it with me. It's crazy. And it comes out Thursday morning, and you can get on the wait list right now, so you can get it first. And you go to join.ryanserhant.com/low inventory waitlist and just do a dash in between low inventory and waitlist. But if you go to ryanserhant.com, you'll find it too.
Awesome. Definitely check that out, guys. But sorry, back to the social media point.
Yeah. So you want to create, what is your personal brand? You are real estate and what? Real estate and what do you like to do? You know, one of our pro members really like to cook. Never, ever thought it had anything to do with real estate. Just like to cook for their spouse and barbecue and stuff. Like, why don't you cook more? It's like, I'd love to cook more, but I have a job. I sell real estate. No. People love food. Okay. You cooking food is interesting. You selling real estate is interesting. So combine them. You are real estate and cooking. And so every listing you have, every open house you do, I'm going to give you work now. You are going to cook a new meal and you're going to promote it that way. Okay. And we even, I love that idea so much. We created our own show here at the brokerage on our listed platform called Meals and Mansions, where we have agents who create meals in mansions. And it's fun because people love food, right? And you can talk about the neighborhood, the types of food. You can try to match food to different areas. There's lots of stuff, that we can do. So figure out what that thing is and then go hard on it, right? And own it. And for every business post, this is not new information, but make sure you're posting personal stuff and be consistent with it. So if you're doing personal stuff, if you want to do a Monday motivation personal post about, what your weekend was like, where the market is going, market Monday motivation, call it your 3 M's. Make sure you do it every Monday, 4 p.m. on the dot or noon or whatever works for you. The issue people have with social media is the same issue they have with advertising. You do it once, nothing happens, so you quit. It's like going to the gym once and you're like, I'm not ripped. That sucks. I'm never going again.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people don't understand it's the same thing. It's consistency, it is repetition, and it's moving towards a goal. And if you stick with it, it'll work.
I love that. That's great advice. You're not going to lose weight in one day on a diet.
True.
Yeah.
It's consistency. It's lifestyle change. So you can't, the same way you're not going to build a whole career because you're going to listen to this and you'll be like, well, Serhant told me to go meet a bunch of people. You go meet a bunch of people on the street, email them. They don't email back. You're like, well, fuck that. No, you got to do it every day, right? This is a numbers game. It's a volume game. It's a consistency game. And it's a hustle game. The best part about it is anyone can do it. You can have a limitless livelihood if you just do it. All you got to do is do it. I can't go to space. I'm not Jeff Bezos. I'm not that smart. I can't create a rocket. There are things in life that I can't do. I will never be able to play in the NBA. I'm not that good of an athlete. I just no matter what I do every day, man, I will never be able to hit a 3-pointer. It's just not going to be in the cards for me. That's okay. But anybody can sell real estate. All you have to do is know how to talk to people and be okay. And one of the tips I give people a lot is I think everyone should take an improv class. You should sign up for improv and you should get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Stop being afraid of being embarrassed. Do not give a shit about what other people think about you or the fact that you said something weird or that this happened or that happened. Take note of how ridiculous life is in the first place and be a strong personality, right? That's important because that's what is memorable. And guess who's memorable? Great salespeople, because that's who gets the call, the person they remembered.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's times where you'll follow up with someone for years before they finally get you a deal, and I know you know that feeling well. So I totally hear you on the consistency, and I love what you said about you're not just in real estate, you're real estate and
Yep.
then play off that and on social media and in your interactions because you just become a lot more interesting.
Yep. 100%. Because people want to connect to you as a human, not as a broker. Like,
Mm.
when have you ever met a salesperson in a mall and said, "Man, I want to be your best friend"? No. You're like, "No, stop asking me if I'm okay, if I need anything. I don't need anything. And now this is awkward. I'm going to go buy this on Amazon." Why do you think Amazon is so big?
Yeah.
Because of salespeople who don't know how to make personal connections. All you got to do with a personal connection is two things: you compliment and you find something in common. That's it. That is the math. You want to make a personal connection with someone, you want to make a friend, you do one of those two things. It is so simple. Compliment them and you find something in common.
That's
Okay.
great
It could
advice.
literally be as, "I love those sunglasses, dude. Where'd you get them? Those are awesome."
Mm.
Compliment. Now you find something in common because it is so damn hot out. It's crazy, man. This is insane. Now a conversation has started. Now listen, could that person say, "Screw you," and walk away? Could they speak, Portuguese and not understand what you're saying and walk away? Sure. But like, you can't be afraid of those moments. Why not? If you want to meet somebody, compliment, find something in common. That is my go-to all the time. You make it a game. That way you're never like, "Oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say hello." Like, get out of your own skin. That's it.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a good compliment. Shoes, bags, hair, face, anything. Like, "Dude, your dog is great. Your baby's so cute." I don't know. Any kind of compliment, and then quickly find something in common you have with them. And it could be something as like current events, right? Could be current events. Could be the street you're on. Damn, the street is busy, right?
Mm.
Or, "Hey, that looks like a great dessert. Is your birthday? When's your birthday's July? My birthday's July." Your birthday can be whenever you want it to be.
Yeah.
A lot of things you can say.
Yeah, I love that. That's honestly such simple and easy advice to follow too. Like anyone can implement that right now starting today.
Yep.
Just got a comment from Valerie Van de Silver. I was at the Serhant Mastermind last Friday at his brand new office, and it's amazing. So
Thank
shout
you.
out to Valerie.
Wow, you're the best. I miss you already. It's only been a couple days, but
Cool. So on the Serhant note, I want to kind of just pick your brain on like, because you had a big successful team. What was it that kind of made you take the jump to starting your own brokerage?
it's kind of like I said at the beginning of our talk. Like, it used to be fear of failure, fear of being embarrassed. Now it's fear of wasted potential. I built a big successful team, sold buildings, sold apartments, but I was working for somebody else who was not great. It's like, okay, so am I going to die with this person or am I going to do my own thing? What is my next step? I'm not going to go to another firm because what's another firm going to do for me? And I did go to every other firm in New York City, everyone. I talked to all the CEOs and I asked them two questions. One, what are you going to do for me?
Yep.
Okay. Why would I bring you a 65-person team and $1.5 billion in deals every year? What are you going to do for me? And don't just tell me high split. Don't just tell me marketing budget. Like, what do you do here that's going to be different for me than what I get already or what I could do on my own? And then two, what are your plans for helping agents work with buyers and sellers in 2030? Because it's going to be here before we know it.
That's a great question.
Right? No one could answer either of them. All the questions were boilerplate bullshit. And it was super annoying. And I blame all the CEOs of other real estate firms in New York City for forcing me to start the greatest real estate brokerage in the history of the known universe. It is their fault. It's not me. Their fault. Because they didn't have good enough companies that would attract me. Otherwise, dude, you know how much work this is? Like Val just said, even just building this office, building the company, like it's so much work. But at the same time, seriously, I had to do it because I just had to. It's like a mountain, it's like you talk to people or you read about people who climb Mount Everest. It's like, why'd you do that? Like, you don't have to. Like, yeah, I don't have to, but it's there. Yeah. I have to. So for me, this was an I have to moment. COVID hit. And I freaked out for a day. And the next day I woke up and said, wait a minute, when am I ever going to get another time in my life where the entire world goes on pause for the spring selling season to give me running room to start my own business, where I'm not nervous about deals dying, people leaving clients behind, so on and so forth? Because guess what? Every deal's already dead because New York City was the epicenter and a lot of people died. So it was a fucked up time. And I took that and said, okay, I think we're going to do this now. I got my core team together and I was like, all right, we're all in different places. We're going to Zoom and we're going to figure this out. And let's figure out from the ground up. All right, what do we need legally? What do we need for paperwork? What do we need? Okay, website. We need a listing management. We need this. We need that. We wrote everything down and just started. We picked it all apart. What do you need to do to build a business? And then we put it all back together during COVID and over the summer. And we launched in September in the Wall Street Journal. Not because it's me, but because no one else in their right mind would start a real estate business in New York City during COVID. And
really unbelievable
decision I'd ever made. It was great.
Yeah. And it came together great, man. Honestly, like the logo is so simple, but so beautiful. You guys, the offices look just amazing. I like the clubhouse vibe that you're talking about. Really cool. And I want to talk just a little bit about how you're approaching it differently, because I know your tagline is kind of like you're building it for the brokerage of tomorrow. So what does that mean? What does that mean to you?
It means to me that I don't want to spend any effort on helping people do what they can already do today. Like, I don't think that's what I'm here for as a firm, right? We are a media-powered global luxury real estate brokerage. That's what Serhant is. Which is why I put the period at the end of the name and on the logo, because I was like, it's it, like, end stop, period. Like, that's what we do. That's what we are. Simple. And I am focused on providing resources for our agents and for all of our course members and people on our pro platform that enable them to sell in the marketplace of tomorrow, which means tomorrow, 2022 to 2030. Right? I want to give them information and resources and people and staff and an environment that will help them even more tomorrow than it does today. Otherwise, I'm just a traditional guy setting up shop on a second floor somewhere, and I'm not changing the world in any way. And that's that fear of wasted potential. And it's been super exciting. We've been a company for 10 months and 20 days, and every day is insane. And I wouldn't have it any other way, man. Like, I live on the adrenaline and the rush and the excitement and the fear and the pure terror and the wall. Talk about a wall, dude. Talk about a wall. Like, you have any idea what it costs to rent this office? Like, what it costs to build all this stuff? Like, millions and millions of dollars. And there's no investors here. There's no bank here, right? This is like me picking the pocket of 24-year-old Ryan when I lived in Koreatown in a tiny little apartment and was doing $1,000 a month rental deals to 3 roommates, and I was guaranteeing the lease with their dad in Connecticut. That guy's helping me pay for this stuff, which means that me today, I'm helping myself 10 years from now, and whatever the hell that guy's doing. And it better be awesome. Otherwise, I'm going to kick his ass.
I love that. I just love the outlook, and I love how, you weren't scared of COVID. You looked at it like an opportunity and kind of jumped full in, burned the bridges, like you said, and just kind of went for it.
Yes.
Big congratulations on that. And now, how are you? Because you guys are bi-coastal now, right? You have LA and New York, and I think Florida.
Right now, yeah, we are. Well, right now we're New York and Florida.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And what's been your biggest challenge in kind of like running those offices in completely different markets and holding everyone accountable and keeping it all together?
Right now, we just have the one office, so it's pretty simple that way. But we'll continue to grow, and it's all about the people, right? Yeah. Hiring the absolute best people to be by my side and help who are aligned on vision and who are aligned on excitement, and making sure that that story stays the same.
Awesome. I love it. So I just got a couple questions to wrap with. Again, guys, check him out. Check out all his stuff. I know you've done a master class. I love both your books, Big Money Energy and Sell It Like Serhant. I just love what you're doing. Big fan of what you're doing. One of my big takeaways actually from the Big Money Energy book was how you said both billionaires and the homeless wake up with the same number of minutes in the day to take action. And I found that to just be like a really profound way to look at it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, using that time wisely and kind of continuing to grow. And then another question I got from John Lincoln was like, as you're continuing to grow, a lot of people get more complacent. How are you fighting that? And how are you using those 1,000 minutes to maximize your full potential?
Easy. Leverage. I just focus all day, every day on only the things that I can do. That is it. Anything else, I have other people do. I don't care if I have to pay them. I don't care if I need multiple people. If I am doing anything someone else can do, then I'm totally wasting my time. Like right now, you wanted to talk to me. I couldn't bring in like Bill, right? That wouldn't be interesting for you. So I am here. I just did a tour right before you. I was racing down from our new listing at 432 Park, where I did a tour for Architectural Digest. They wanted me, right? That's something that I personally have to do. I spend time doing decisions, pitching, prospecting, and pushing brand all day long. And that's really what my focus is. Absolutely everything else is other people. And that's how I leverage my minutes so that I can do more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And honestly, I think that's the key to entrepreneurship is bringing on great people that you can do to outsource the things that you don't need to do. To your point earlier about finding the Bitcoin millionaires, and you could send someone else down to the Bitcoin conference in Miami and to build the list and do all the research and stuff like that. So
100%.
I love that. It's a great way to look at it.
Yep.
So my last question, and I love to kind of always wrap with this one. I know you've got a young daughter as well, and I have 2 young boys, and I just curious to what your advice would be to the young kids out there on how to be successful in life.
Oh man, listen, if you work hard and you are nice to people, you're a good person, great things will happen. Get out of your own way, learn to laugh at yourself, and understand that you have so many options. Okay. And it's also important to know too, that you should never, ever, ever, and I talked about this at our mastermind actually last week, never mistake a speed bump in your life for a brick wall.
Ooh,
right?
That's good.
It's important. I moved to New York City to do theater. I didn't come here to do real estate. I came here to do theater, and real estate was not even close to like option B or C or D. It wasn't even the alphabet. It was like in the Chinese alphabet. Okay. That's how far away it was from my ideas of what I was going to do with my life. And when the theater thing didn't work out because I ran out of money, I had to look at other options. And a lot of my friends that I had when I first came to the city who, the same thing, they needed money and they didn't want to get a job and this, that, the other, they took it for brick walls. So I tried, it didn't work out for me and they left, went home. I have no idea what happened to those people. I've never heard from them ever again, which is fine. I'm sure they're great and I'm sure they're happy. But if you're somebody that wants to make a dent on this planet for the rest of time in some way, shape, or form and lead the absolute best life you personally can, don't even think about anybody else. Don't try to compare yourself to anybody else, but just think about what you can bring to the table and the absolute best life you can lead. Okay? You've got to put in the work. You got to be really good to other people. And you have to wake up every single day knowing that speed bumps are in the damn road. They're there and they're meant to slow you down because maybe you were going too fast in the first place. So slow down, take a second, and then keep driving. Success is around the bend. You just don't know which bend it's going to be around. And I'll leave you with something that I see Valerie just put in the comments here that I told our agents and our course members last week too. What keeps me going every day and kept me going when I first got into the business too, especially on the darkest days, the deals dying, clients yelling at you, you're late on rent. Like, think about the worst stuff. I haven't even done my biggest deal yet. I haven't even met my greatest client yet. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
And I just know I'm going to.
I love
a
that.
year ago, I didn't know I was going to sell a house for $132 million in Palm Beach, Florida.
Right.
What? Like, if you had told me that, I would have said, no, that's wrong fortune, dude. I'm in New York. Also, we're in the middle of COVID. Like, what are you talking about? 12 years, I didn't know I was going to be on a TV show for 10 years. If you had told me that, I'd have been like, what? No, I'm getting into real estate. I'm like, no, what are you talking? What? Then not for me at all. The greatest thing you've ever done, you haven't even done yet. The greatest person for your life, you haven't even met that person yet. You might meet them tomorrow. You might meet them in a year. It could be 10 years. Who knows? But make sure you are ready when that opportunity happens. And that excites the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's really awesome. The greatest day of your life hasn't even happened yet.
Yep.
I love it. Well, appreciate your input. Again, everyone, go check him out. RyanSerhant.com. Get the books. The books are amazing. If you want the playbook on how to sell and his whole strategies, Sell It Like Serhant's an awesome book. Highly recommend that. And anything you want to leave us with?
Get the new course. I'm telling you, like, I don't really sell anything, anymore. I sell real estate, but I don't even have to pitch it that hard. But for anyone that's listening, the low inventory course will totally change your business this year. It's everything I personally know about how to sell, how to get buyers off the fence, how to get sellers to list with you, how to continue to grow your network in a low inventory environment. And I think I hit on every single struggle you could possibly have. Comes out Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Get on the wait list right now. join.ryanserhant.com/low-inventory-course and rock and roll. The link is in my Instagram bio too, if that's easier for you.
Yeah, we'll put it down below as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Really appreciate you, and very thankful because I know you're a busy man, and appreciate all the awesome insights. And you guys, if you like real estate and you like money, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.